Who wants to be the next Italian wine ambassador? Join an exclusive network of 400 Italian wine ambassadors across 48 countries. Vinitaly International Academy is coming to Chicago on October 19th to 21st, and to Almaty, Kazakhstan from November 16th to 18th. Don't miss out. Register now at vinitaly.com.
Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Listen in as we journey to some of Italy's most beautiful places in the company of those who know them best, the families who grow grapes and make fabulous wines. Through their stories, we will learn not just about their wines, but also about their ways of life, the local and regional foods and specialities that pair naturally with their wines, and the most beautiful places to visit. We have a wonderful journey of discovery ahead of us, and I hope you will join me. Welcome to Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Today I'm delighted to continue a special sub-series that highlights the winners of the prestigious 5-Star Wines and Wines Without Walls competition that took place in April, just prior to Vinitaly 2024. Those wines that scored more than 90 points were awarded certificates and have been included in the 5-Star Wines and Wines Without Walls 2025 book, while the very best wines in each category were singled out for special awards. Today we travel to Sardinia, the second largest island in the Mediterranean, to meet my guest, Nino Mason Carta of the Silvio Carta winery, producer of an utterly unique wine, Vernaccia di Oristano, which has won this year's 5-Star Wines Award for Best White Wine. Silvio Carta also produced a range of traditional distillates, which we'll also talk about. Buongiorno, Nino. Thanks so much for being my guest today. Many congratulations for the award. And how are you?
Buongiorno, Marc. I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me. And it was a pleasure to be awarded with the best Italian white wine at such an important competition.
Well, yes, it is. It's a really huge accolade for your company, and also, I think, an accolade for a style of wine that is not so commonly encountered. And we'll talk about that in a bit more detail. But first of all, Nino, I'd like our listeners to gain an image in their minds. Our listeners are located all around the world. So tell us about where you're located in Sardinia. Describe your world to share with us.
We are located in Sardinia, so right in this island in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea. As you mentioned, it's the second largest island in the Mediterranean, and it's well known for its stunning landscapes, rich history, and unique culture. Our company, Silvio Carta, is located in Baratili San Pietro and Sediani, which are two small agricultural villages on the west coast of the island, about 10 kilometers from Oristano. This specific area is called Sinis Peninsula and represents the Midwest of Sardinia, and is characterized by wild and untouched beaches, clear sea, and intricate vegetation. It's an area ideal for cultivating renowned vine varieties and officinal plants, and that's what makes unique our products. Tourists usually visit more famous places in Sardinia, like Cagliari, which is the capital, or Costa Smeralda in the northeast of the island, which is the VIP part of Sardinia. And while these places are beautiful, I would like to invite you and your listeners to actually discover the Sinis Peninsula, which authentically represents the soul of Sardinia with its wild and unspoiled nature. Maybe here you won't find the same services that you can find in more touristic parts of Sardinia, but if you like to reconnect with nature, if you like calm and peaceful places and are looking for a spot where to recharge your batteries, this might be just the right place.
Oh, that sounds absolutely beautiful, Nino. And I've not heard of the Sinos Peninsula, but it sounds like a real undiscovered hidden corner of Sardinia. So that's a very good suggestion for our listeners, and indeed somewhere I'd certainly like to visit. Now, Nino, I'd like you to share the family story of Silvio Carta, but first of all, tell us about yourself. Tell us a bit about your own story. How did you come to join the family business?
My parents, my grandpa, they never really pushed me too hard to join the company, but they always left me free to choose my own path. And so after university, I had a big dream to discover a bit more of the world. So I've been traveling and working a bit in Europe and then mainly in South America, where I spent a few years. And then after this, I came back and joined the company and the family to give my hand.
Okay, so you've seen the world, moved around, but in the end, the pull of home was very strong, and you've come back to your roots, to back to where you were raised, and back, most importantly, to where your family is.
Yeah, joining the family company was always the thing I wanted to do, but it's kind of a job that really takes a lot of your time and doesn't really give you much of free time. So I knew that if I wanted to do something uh, for me, something different, I really had to do at that time. That was the only spot where I could do it. So I just went for it and then I happily joined the family.
Okay, and how long have you been with the family company now, and how old are you?
I'm 36 and I joined the family 4 years ago.
Okay, so you had a good while traveling around, and now you're back in Sardinia, back in an historic company. Tell us a little bit about the background of Silvio Carta.
The story of Silvio Carta began in 1929 when my grandfather was born into a peasant family in this small little village of Baratili San Pietro. At the age of 21, when also my grandmother was 16 and pregnant, Silvio faced the challenge of providing for his young family. And I believe this difficult situation fueled his determination to create something special. In the early 50s, so he founded the Silvio Carta company, dedicating himself to producing the best Vernaccia di Oristano, a wine that gained recognition for its unique qualities almost immediately. And in the 60s and 70s, Vernaccia di Oristano was the most popular wine from Sardinia. Now, when I'm taking part of trade show around the world and we talk about Sardinian wines, everyone is familiar with the Cannonau and Vermentino, which are respectively the most planted red and white grape variety from the island. But at that time, Vernaccia di Oristano was the most popular. And indeed, imagine it was the first DOC wine of Sardinia in 1971. And it's fun how sometimes I also get curious and check the old sales history, and I see small villages bar that will sell over 200 liters of Vernaccia di Oristano per week. It's unbelievable how popular it was. And over time, Silvio, with his first son Elio, expanded the company's offerings to include a variety of liqueurs and spirits, always maintaining a deep respect for Sardinia tradition and nature.
Okay, so it's very much a story rooted in the traditions of Sardinia. Now, I was a judge at this year's five-star wines and Wines Without Walls competition, and I know how rigorous it is and how we assess and discuss every single wine that we taste. So to win the best white wine award is an extraordinary and very high achievement, and especially for a wine of such unique characteristics. So I'd like to dive deeper into this historic and unique wine. Talk to us about Vernaccia di Oristano. Tell us how this wine is produced and what makes it so unique.
Vernaccia di Oristano is a truly unique wine with a rich history. It is produced only from Vernaccia di Oristano grapes, which grow in the lower valley of the Tirso River near the sea in the Sinis Peninsula. And this wine is known for its amber color and distinct flavor profile, which includes notes of almond blossom, dried fruit, nuts. The production process is very precise. After a late harvest in September, late September, early October, the wine is aged in chestnut barrels for at least 4 years before become Vernaccia d'Oristano DOC Riserva. We respect the tradition using only Sardinian chestnut barrels, which are now over 100 years old. These barrels, which are now completely neutral, so there is no influence, no wood influence in here, are usually left partially filled to allow the development of floor yeast, which create a characteristic film which protect the wine, allowing a micro-oxygenation process to happen, which gives Vernaccia di Oristano its characteristic aroma and taste that in Sardo, the Sardinian language, we say muruai.
Sorry to interrupt. What does murai mean, that Sardinian word?
It's hard to describe this word muruai. We don't think there is an actual word in Italian or in English to translate this, but it's mainly connected with this very intense and unique sense that you can smell in very special vintages of Vernaccia di Oristano Riserva.
Okay, so let me just recap a little bit for our listeners. This unique wine produced in a unique method. The barrels partially filled, 4/5, did you say, Nino?
Mm-hmm.
The barrels not filled completely, allowing this layer of yeast, of floor, to develop on the surface, protecting the wines from oxygen, but still allowing that micro-oxygenation and adding unique flavors. A process similar to what I have seen in Jerez de la Frontera for the production of Fino sherries, a style of wine that is quite unique with this layer of floor on that, which again, maybe this is what's giving that nutty, delicious, unique character to the flavor of the wine. Is there a Spanish link, Nino, for the production of Vernaccia?
So in Sardinia, we had a very big Spanish influence, specifically when Sardinia was under the Spanish rule from late 14th to early 18th century. Still, with Vernaccia di Oristano, we remain firmly linked to older tradition, and that's why we only use Sardinian chestnut barrels instead of oak, and we only produce single vintage Vernaccia di Oristano Giusti Riserva instead of Solera method, which would allow blending different vintages together. The older tradition are mainly linked to the Phoenicians, as 3,000 years ago, they introduced Vernaccia di Oristano grape variety to the coastal area of Oristano on the Sinise Peninsula, where they founded the ancient landing place of Taros. And over time, cultivation has remained limited to this area near Oristano, mainly in Alberello, so cultivated through freestanding vines. And this variety prefers also lowlands derived from the ancient and recent floods of the Tirso and Rio Manu rivers.
That's fascinating, Nino, going back 3,000 years to these great maritime traders, the Phoenicians, who traveled up the west coast of Italy to Sardinia, Sicily, of course, and also to southern France. And I believe the Phoenicians also settled in the area around Jerez de la Frontera, which could be a link between the wines. Really interesting to hear how the tradition goes back so long, but also that this unique wine is limited to your area of production only, the Sinus Peninsula.
Yeah, it's fun that during like the 60s and the 70s in Sardinia, Vernaccia di Oristano was the main wine, the main grape variety. Of course, Sardinia had a big demand for this wine, and also the rest of the country. So they tried to produce the same wine all over the island, and they didn't make it. So only this specific area was able to deliver these very peculiar scents and flavors, which make Vernaccia di Oristano so special, so unique.
Well, that's fascinating. Now, is the wine unfortified?
It is unfortified, and that's also a very big difference from other wine, like for example sherry. As in this case, when you maybe take a bottle and you see on the back label of a Vernaccia di Oristano, you can see 18, maybe 19 alcohol level ABV, and this is actually made through an evaporation process that happens in the barrel, which concentrates the wine. So it naturally increases the alcohol content. On the other hand, each year we lose about 8 to 10% of the wine in the barrel And for instance, we bottled a Vernaccia di Oristano DC Riserva 1968 vintage. So we basically, grandpa and uncle filled in 1968 60,000 liters of Vernaccia di Oristano in chestnut barrels, and after 50 years and 2 months, they were left less than 3,000 after all this time. Despite this, the wine was spectacular and, of course, unrepeatable, and is one of our most awarded Vernaccia di Oristano Riserva.
And that's incredible. That's incredible. Now, Nino, the style of the wine, is this a dry or a sweet wine?
The wine is completely dry.
Okay, so that's very, very interesting. But reaching up to 18% through this process of natural evaporation. So it's really this oxidized style, this amber style wine is a unique rarity. We don't come across styles of wine like this anywhere else in Italy. So certainly it's something for people to try in Sardinia, and it's also something for people to try if they can get their hands on a bottle sold for export. Do you sell much export?
Our main market for both our wines and spirits is still Italy. After Italy, we export mainly in Central Europe, like Germany, France, Belgium. And then we have Asia, where we actually came back recently from a very interesting trip. And then also Australia, and recently also the US.
Italian Wine Podcast. If you think you love wine as much as we do, then give us a like and a follow anywhere you get your pods.
Now, Nino, I'd like to discuss Vernaccia di Oristano and food a little bit later in our conversation, because I think it's very interesting to consider the way and the moments when one drinks this unique wine. But first, let's turn more briefly to the other side of the Silvio Carta story, which is the distillation. Now, is it true that after the war there was a lot of illegal distilling in Sardinia? It was part of the tradition to home distill using the grape pomace and perhaps some of the wild herbs or juniper. And it was out of this tradition that your company was born.
You need to remember that this part of the island has always been one of the less, how can I say, with less resources. So people needed to survive and try to find also different possibilities to produce both like food and drinks, and maybe also exchange them between families. So everyone in here will have their own maybe chickens and pigs and the piglets, and they will make wines. In the same time, they will have an alembic at home to make spirits. That was very common, and even if it was illegal, we have a very big tradition in Sardinia for this. Just to have an idea, we have actually our own name, for example, for a grappa. So the distillate from the grape skins from pomaces in Sardinia is called filu e verru. Filu e verru means filo is like wire, and ferru is of iron. And that was because when people will distill illegally, then they will hide the bottle under the ground and will just leave an iron wire to see where to remember where they put the bottle. And that's why we have different names in Sardinian language for spirits, because it was illegal and they need to find a way to talk about it in a way that the police would not understand what they were talking about.
Oh, that's a fascinating story. I love that detail. Now, tell us about a spirit or a liqueur that perhaps people are less familiar with, but which is very traditional to Sardinia and to Silvio Carta, and that's Mirto.
Mirto is an authentic glory of Sardinian gastronomy, and we dedicate particular attention to it. Myrtle is an evergreen shrub growing 2-3 meters tall on average, that grows spontaneously in almost the entire Mediterranean area. In Sardinia, myrtle is widely used in food, and leaves and berries are used both fresh and dry. as an ingredient for stuffing or as a spice in game recipes, while the branches are traditionally used to season typical preparation of lamb roast or Sardinian piglets. Our classic Mirto liqueur, which is the most famous way to end a meal here in Sardinia, is made from infusion of ripe berries, and in that case we make Mirto Rosso, or the infusion of leaves. In that case, we make Mirto Bianco. We are talking about an infusion with alcohol and water, and then we add a touch of sugar or honey, and then the Mirto is ready.
Okay, so that is really a taste of Sardinia at the end of a meal to have this digestivo.
Oh, absolutely. A very good pairing with Mirto would be maybe with a Sardinian seadas, which is this like pastry, fried pastry with cheese and honey, which is very delicious.
Okay.
But we can talk about food pairing later.
Well, let's turn to food pairing now, and let's return to Vernaccia di Oristano. I imagine that this would be a very nice wine to have with aperitivo. Would that be the case? And is aperitivo important in Sardinia as it is in other parts of Italy?
Aperitivo is incredibly important in Sardinia, both in small villages and bigger towns, and is like this daily tradition of bringing people together to enjoy light drinks and small bites before dinner. And we have different kind of aperitivos. Before it was very common to have it with a young Vernaccia di Oristano. Now that is a bit less common, and for this we produce the Aspide, which is our orange aperitivo, which allows both locals and visitors to enjoy typical Sardinian spirits. It's been gaining popularity in cocktail bars that they even found a name in Sardinian language, which would be Sprizzigetto. Another popular aperitivo, which is one of my favorite, is the Mirto Sour, which is a very flavorful drink and is made with Mirto Rosso, fresh lemon juice, rosemary syrup or liquid sugar, and ice. It's so fruity, it's the best.
Oh, that sounds really refreshing as well, especially in the summer heat. Is there a big boom for cocktails now, especially among younger people, Nino?
Oh yeah, young generation now is looking forward to the art of mixology with great enthusiasm, and it's fun for us because we're able to offer all the necessary tools to create fully crafted Sardinian cocktails like a Sardinian Negroni or Sardinian Americano, White Negroni, Manhattan, Boulevardier, Whiskey Sour, and all made with 100% Sardinian ingredients. Or, for example, our gin tonic is a classic favorite. And we also recently introduced the Paloma, made with the 41 bis, our agave spirit. And the idea is not just to celebrate the rich flavors of Sardinia, but also bring a modern twist to the traditional cocktail recipes.
Okay, so it's that mix of a company that's deeply traditional, rooted in tradition. The products are so traditional that the Vernaccia can go back 3,000 years, but you're also looking forward and innovative. I think that's really important to have products that can excite new and younger market. That's perhaps part of your job then, is to discover this way to reach new markets.
I believe it is, especially like in the last 4 or 5 years, we've been growing also abroad, which is something that we didn't where we didn't work much before. So it's very interesting also because now more and more markets are opening, even young markets, and they are looking for more craft spirits, very unique wines. So for us, that we are really bringing a bit of the soul of Sardinia, they're like very, very big opportunities.
Okay, great. Now, Nino, let's turn now to Sardinian foods and both Vernaccia di Oristano and possibly whether you can match or pair typical and traditional foods with any of your liqueurs or spirits.
Vernacci di Oristano pairs wonderfully with local dishes like botarga, the Sardinian golden caviar. So this salted and cured fish roe is a Sardinian delicacy, and its rich, savory flavor. It really complements the nutty and complex notes of Vernacci di Oristano. You should try, for instance, Vernaccia with spaghetti and botarga, or simply with the botarga and some extra virgin olive oil on top, or there with artichokes and botarga, which is one of my personal favorite. Also very special, and Mark, when you will come to Sardinia, I will bring you to one of my favorite places to try this one, is this special aperitivo made with this typical Sardinian crisp bread known as montresta or bistoku, with fresh artichokes and botarga shavings on top with extra virgin olive oil. And also, when the artichokes are not in season, it is completed with ripe fruits like figs, apples, or melon. And it's like a very like an explosion of taste for your taste buds. And Vernaccia di Oristano then also pairs very well with aged cheese. So think about a seasoned pecorino, or as a dessert wine with almond desserts like Sardinia famous amaretti, guefuzu, and pavassinos. Our like bomba carta or Mirto rosso, they also are very good as after dinner, so they can pair with the seadas from Sardinia, which is this fried pastry with cheese and honey. Or also when I think about cocktails, a Sardinian Negroni complements rich cheeses, or a gin tonic with our Grifulimo is like perfect with the fresh seafood. But yeah, when you guys will come to Sardinia, I will invite you to taste yourself these exquisite combinations.
Absolutely fabulous, Nino. I'm just loving the sound of that crisp bread with the fresh artichokes and shavings of botarga. This unique flavor of Sardinia. Botarga is something that people definitely have to try, and I'm really intrigued that that can pair so well with Vernaccia di Oristano. I can imagine that sort of nuttiness of the wine and the deep flavors of the botarga pairing absolutely beautiful and in a unique combination that one won't find anywhere else. Nino, what about visiting your area? What about visiting Silvio Carta? Do you have opportunities for wine hospitality or wine tourism?
Oh, for sure. We warmly welcome visitors to experience our winery and distillery, and they can explore the vineyards, the distillery, learning about all the production processes, both for wines and spirits. And also, when we do these tours, we provide a deep dive into the history and traditions of the family. You might even get the chance to meet Nonno Silvio and Zio Elio, see our century-old chestnut barrels where the maging of Vernaccia di Oristano happens, and also witness the innovation behind our award-winning gins and other spirits. And it's not just about seeing, but it's also about tasting. So we offer tasting sessions where you can sample a range of products from the Vernaccia di Oristano to the vibrant Vermouths, traditional Mirto, gins, and of course our unique Sardinian whiskey. To arrange a visit, you can just contact us through our website or send us a message on Facebook or Instagram. We're always excited to meet new friends and share a bit of the authentic taste of Sardinia with the world.
Nino, that's a great description of what you offer, and also a real invitation to all our listeners to make the effort to visit a less well-known part of Sardinia, to go to the west, to the Sinus Peninsula, which sounds so intriguing with its beautiful beaches, and to discover what Silvio Carta has to offer. Nino, it's been really great talking to you this morning. Thank you for sharing your world, the world of Vernaccia di Oristano, and taking us to Sardinia. I've really enjoyed this, and I'm sure our listeners have too. So have a great day, and I hope to visit you sometime soon. Grazie.
Thank you, Mark, for having me on your show, and I will wait here for you and all your listeners to enjoy Sardinia and have a drink together.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Wine, Food and Travel with me, Marc Millon, on Italian Wine Podcast. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe right here or wherever you get your pods. Likewise, you can visit us at ItalianWinePodcast.com. Until next time, chin chin.